Today's guest is Lois Danks. She is a beautician, witch, psychic, and an up-and-coming midwife. She has also had an alien encounter, and today we are going to learn all about it. Lois, thank you so much for being our guest. I really appreciate you, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on this podcast.
Oh, great. And we're excited to have you. So let's just jump right into it. Can we start with how you had your alien encounter? What was going on?
Yeah, well, basically, me and my mum, we liked to stargaze in like a garden and everything. So one day it was a meteor shower and it was really clear skies. It was a beautiful night. So we went out and we have like our sun loungers and we decided to like lie on them. And then we went back inside roughly about 12 a.m. And because my mum had just gone live on Facebook at the time. Mm-hmm. So then we decided to go back inside. We got a drink and that, went to the toilet. So we'd already seen a time. It was about 12. And then we went back outside. And about roughly 5 minutes later, I seen this thing in the distance. And I was like, Mum, what's that? And my mum's not one to be scared of stuff. Like, she's fought demons and stuff. She ain't like one to be, you know, like scared of things. And she grabbed my hand and she was genuinely scared. And the dogs were out there because we have a little pug and a Jack Russell. So we grabbed them and like we kind of just tried to like hide in like the dark kind of bit. Like we tried to get as low as the floor as possible. And it came over and it was like hovering above us for what felt like about a minute. And so I squinted a bit because the lights were really bright and I could kind of see it looked like big 4 spotlights, as if it was like something off of a film, like a big alien ship, you know, like the circle disc kind of looking thing. Looked like that. And it was about a minute, it was there. And then it went away, like hovered away. And then it all of a sudden disappeared. Mm-hmm. And then I went to go live straight after because I didn't know if it was going to come back and I wanted to get it on video. Mm-hmm. And when I checked the time, it was 2 a.m. But it was literally just like 5 minutes past 12 when we went out there.
Whoa.
So it was weird. The time difference in between was like really strange. And I don't do drugs or anything. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a hallucination. Me and my mum both saw it. So I searched it up and everyone says when you see it, there's always about a 2-hour time difference once you've seen it, which was really strange. And we tried to debunk it and there was no way that it could have been anything else.
So did anybody else near you see it? Like, did you see any Facebook posts or anything that said, hey, we saw a UFO in my city that day or that night?
Well, we posted it, but nobody seemed to have seen it. But it makes me think, because it was about just above my house, it makes me think now, how many times has it gone over my house and we've not realised? Because it was silent. There was no sound. It was just silent. Mm-hmm. But we had put it on Facebook and nobody said that they seen anything.
But you didn't get any pictures of video of it, did you?
No. Well, my phone was on like 5%. So when I went live, it had cut off anyway and it didn't come back. So I was actually really gutted because nobody believes us now and it's understandable, but it was so scary.
How long ago did this happen?
It was about 2014.
Okay.
Ish, maybe. Yeah, about 2014.
Okay, so that was quite some time ago then. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
You had like 2 hours of missing time. Have you remembered any of it since then?
No.
Or seen
not
any
one
of it?
bit.
Or seen any of it in dreams?
Sometimes I think that I can see a man in a lab coat, but then I think it might just be my brain just playing tricks on me because of like films that I've watched. Mm-hmm. But other than that, that's about, my mum don't remember anything. And it's just weird that we're both psychics, we come from a spiritual family and it was only us that seen it, kind of thing. Nobody else was out in their gardens. So
do you live in a small city or a village?
We live in a little town called Bedworth, and it's I mean, it's a big-ish town, but it ain't the biggest town. It's kind of like a crappy little town, if I'm honest. So everyone's either doing drugs or in the house. It's mental around here. So no one around here stargazes, to be honest.
Do you live on the edge of town, or do you live in the central area?
I live pretty much in the central area on the main road going into the town. Like I live on a main road.
Okay. Just curious to see, maybe if you're on the edge, maybe the UFO is less likely to be seen. But it's interesting that it went right. Sounds like it might have went right through town.
I don't know. It came from the town area. So town is east. My house is south facing. And it came from the east, which is where town is. So you would have thought people would have seen it. Unless they have and they're just not admitting it. I don't know. But it was real. And it was like, it was really scary.
If you could guess, how many meters above your house do you think it was?
I don't know how tall my house is, but it was about another house above it.
About two houses. Houses high.
Yeah, roughly.
Would you say it was bigger than a car?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Because we did think it could be a drone, but then how big it was, it couldn't have been a drone the way how big it was and how it was silent. Drones normally make like a kind of like spinning noise, don't they? Because they're flying.
Right.
This was silent.
Wow, that's amazing. So since then, have you seen any other ships?
No.
Did you see any windows on the ship?
No, it was like when it came over, it was if it was like you couldn't really see anything because the lights were so bright. But if you were to squint, you could kind of see through the light kind of thing, like through the center. And it looked like there was like a disc and then the oval kind of shape. But you couldn't see like through. It was just like black, like as if it was like there was no windows because it was like the bottom bit. But we couldn't see any windows when it came over or anything. It just looked like a big space dome thing.
So afterwards, how did you react? Like, were you like freaked out for like a week or so, or how were you?
Well, straight after we went live, obviously we was freaking out. We was like, we don't know what it was. And then we went inside for a bit because it did freak us out. So then after I went back to school and I was telling everyone, and everyone just thought I was crazy. Other than one of my friends, she believes in aliens. But we've always believed that there's obviously more life than us in like the solar system. There's got to be. So when we seen it, we was just like, oh my God, because when you search up, you think, oh, that's fake. That's obviously edited. You know what I mean? So it's just a bit, it was really strange and it was scary.
Have you had any other paranormal experiences before this?
Yeah, I've had paranormal experiences all my life. When I was 3, I don't remember this, but I've been told by other people that my grandma's grandma, she looked after my grandma because my grandma's mum died. So my middle name is named after her, Eliza. So she looked after my grandma and brought her up as her own. And one day I was playing with like my dolls at a party or something, and then I took my doll down and I went over to my grandma, and apparently my voice changed completely, and I said, I am Eliza, I've came down from heaven to see you. But like, what 3-year-old I didn't even know about Eliza back like when I was 3, you know what I mean? So it was a bit strange, but I've had them all my life, paranormal experiences for years.
When did you discover that you were psychic?
Well, when I was younger, I kept seeing things. All of my family see things. And my mum, obviously, because she was brought up in a domestic home, she would also see a lot of things, but she wasn't allowed to talk about it. So she always said to us, don't ever feel afraid. You can tell me anything if you see anything. Because if she was to mention anything, she would have been beaten. So she always made us speak out about it if we seen anything. And then when I was probably in primary school, so I was about 10, 11, going into secondary school, I started getting these voices in my head that would tell me to do horrible things to people, but it was like a man's voice. It wasn't, you know how you have your inner thoughts, you can kind of hear yourself but you can't. Well, when you're a psychic, sometimes you can hear voices that ain't, you know, they ain't your own like thoughts. And they would tell me to do really, really vile things, like hit people. I'd have really bad thoughts of like it. I don't want to go into that, but yeah, I'd have really vile thoughts. And I told my mum about it, and she said she had the same thing when she was younger. So I stopped doing it for a while because I'd call out to anything and everything. I didn't ever protect myself. I didn't have crystals. I didn't really know a lot about it. So I'd always call out. And then I used to get scared. I couldn't walk upstairs on my own. I had to have somebody with me. And I was always being watched. I'd hear footsteps behind me, like on the way back from school, and no one would be there. But it was after I would pass, there's this place called Toy Kennins, and it's a clothes shop where they make clothes for schools and stuff. And the back of it is supposed to be a porthole for spirits to come through. And it would always happen. I'd start to hear the footsteps as soon as I'd pass that point. So when I got home, I'd automatically be scared anyway. But yeah, so I stopped doing it, and then I became ill and I kind of missed doing it. So then I decided to open back up and just make sure I protect myself and everything, which I do now.
So at that time, do you think that you were hearing maybe dead people speaking, or do you think you were hearing maybe demons trying to mess with you, or what?
I believe it was a demon. I don't think it wouldn't have been a nice spirit anyway, but my family has this demon with them. My mum had the demon when she was at her childhood home. And then I think it passed on to my cousin, which was the firstborn grandchild. And she has like witches on both sides of her family, likewise as me. And it came through to her, and it was trying to get to my auntie. And they had ghost hunters in last year. She was on a program, and they got rid of it now, thank God. But sometimes I feel like it tries to attach onto me. But I'll be painting sometimes, like my room, and I'll just get voices like, "Oh, if you come to the dark side or whatever, if you come help me, I'll give you whatever you need. I'll make you feel better. I'll fix your illness." And I've always said no. It's like it tries to tempt you, but I just say no. I lie with God. I will die with God. You know, I'm not gonna go to you, kind of thing, and it puts it in its place.
Interesting. What other psychic abilities do you have?
I'm kind of a mix of all of it, which is I don't know if it's rare, but like I'm clairvoyant, clairaudience. You get like, I forgot what they all mean, to be honest, but you get like psychic smell, psychic ability to hear, psychic thought kind of thing. You get like a mix of all different ones. And I've kind of got the ability to have all of them. I can talk to the dead, and I can see the dead. I can smell certain smells if they want me to smell. Like if I'm giving a reading to someone, they'll give me a distinctive smell sometimes, and I'll say, "Oh, did they wear this kind of perfume?" And I'll describe the perfume, and they might say, "Yeah," kind of thing. So I'm pretty much a bit of all of them, but it runs on both sides of my family. Especially on my mum's side, it runs through the females, even though my brother does have the ability to, but he don't really use it or know he has it.
It seems like there are a lot of psychics in England. What's in the water over there? What is going on?
Well, in Scotland and everything, and back in the Victorian times, a lot of witches were over here. There was a lot of Wiccans, a lot of spell casting. There's quite a big history of witchcraft over here. So I guess it just all stems from that. And then you've got the gypsy travellers, which are on my dad's side, who I think did crystal balls and stuff. Like back in the old times, they probably don't do them now, but back in the olden times, they'd probably do the crystal balls and stuff and whatnot. So
how often do you use your psychic abilities?
Kind of every day, actually. I always try and incorporate it into my everyday routines. I'll sometimes shuffle the cards and I'll ask Spirit to give me an answer for a question I might have. I might just give some of my friends readings if they want them, but I'll try and limit how much I know about people. So I'll try not to do my friends, because if I know their grandparents have passed and I know their names, it's harder for me to know if it's me thinking it or if it's them. I prefer to know nothing at all. But I've started manifesting, and I script and journal and stuff, and I take salt baths and crystal baths and do moon water, holy water, etc.
What do you think are the misconceptions people have about psychics?
Everyone's religions are different, but some people believe that we only speak to demons and believe that it's not their loved ones, or they think it's fake, which is totally up to them. It's their religion, whatever. But sometimes it can be kind of hurtful towards psychics because of the way they say it's fake. Like, you'll give them a reading or they'll ask for a reading, they're like, no, it don't relate. But then they might go home and then they'll think, oh, it does relate, but they couldn't think of what it was at the time.
And then they'll contact you later and say, hey, by the way, you were right after all.
Yeah.
All right. So in your bio, it says that you are also a witch. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah.
When did you become a witch?
Well, again, in my family, psychic mediumship is kind of a form of witchcraft in itself.
Okay.
But in my family, I have, especially on my mum's side, and my dad's auntie, I think, dabbled in dark witchcraft at some point. You can be a witch through blood as well. So in my family, there's certain people that own shops for witchcraft and stuff. But I've just started, I'm not a beginner witch, a baby witch. So I've just started getting into proper spells, but I won't ever do the dark witchcraft. It's only like light magic I will work with.
That's interesting that you said that people in your family had stores for witchcraft. What would you sell at one of those stores? What kind of stuff would they sell?
Well, one of my cousins, she has one called Spellbound, and she sells like crystals, sage, like little tarot cards, like books, mini little cauldron kind of things. Like, it's just really cool. You can sell. She don't sell Ouija boards, I don't think, not that I'm aware of, but they sell like little trinkets and stuff, like incense sticks, anything you might need for witchcraft.
How would you say that the British public are generally towards psychics and witchcraft? Are they accepting? Are they ridiculing?
I think it's becoming not more of a norm. I feel like more people are starting to believe it a bit more. Some more people are going to the churches and psychic things, and more people that I know are wanting to open up their psychic abilities and stuff. So I think it's becoming more popular in a way. But some people still call you crazy and still treat you a bit like you're mental.
What do you think inspires you most about being a witch?
I feel like it gives me a bit of a purpose on the earth, having witchcraft, and being able to talk to the dead. It gives me a reason. Well, it gives me more of a purpose on earth as well, to give people readings, because it can tell the future, it can warn them of certain things, and it can protect people also. So I also do healing now, where I can't heal people completely, but I can take away the pain a little bit. So that gives me another purpose.
Wow, how do you do that?
I use crystals as well as my own thoughts, and I work with the angels also. So when I close my eyes, I see a load of different colours, bright colours, greens, oranges, yellows, blues, and they're all the angels coming through, and I'll ask them to help me. And I basically picture somebody's body who I'm healing filled with a dark mass, and I'll drag the darkness out of it and I'll put it into the ground, and I'll ask Mother Nature to purify it and change it into light energy. and then I will then put it into their body, and I'll focus on the main area that they might be hurting, and I'll hover my hands above, and wherever it's hot, that's where I know they've got a problem, and I can either warn them and tell them they might need to go to the doctor for it, or I can try and help as well.
What have you done as a psychic / witch that you're most proud of?
Probably my healing, if I'm honest, because I've helped my dad's back, I've helped other people with their problems a little bit. I don't do it often enough, obviously, because of COVID, and I haven't been able to. So, but giving people readings when they've lost a loved one gives me a lot of happiness doing that, because it's giving them more of a clarification that they're passed on peacefully. I've done spells on which I've tried to, you can't ever change time. Like, you can't change, if someone's going to die, it's their time. But I've made someone go more peacefully than what they might have done. So I'm probably most proud of that.
Have you ever casted spells on anybody?
No, no, because it can come back on you 10 times worse. So I tend not to do spells on people unless it's to help them.
Even a good spell?
You have to be careful. That's why I haven't done one yet, because you have to be really careful on your wording, or else it can come back on you.
Like, has any of your girlfriends said, hey, I really like this guy, will you cast a spell on him so he'll like me?
Yeah, some of them have, and I've said I can't.
Oh, okay, you haven't done that. Is there a witch's code that you shouldn't be doing that by, or you just do that as your own personal, your own personal rules?
There's not a code. I just don't do it. Some people do it and they don't seem to have it come back on them, but I think you have to be really well experienced and trained to do that.
What is the scariest thing that ever happened to you while doing psychic and or witchcraft stuff?
One of my scariest experiences was when I was doing table tipping, which is a seance where everyone puts their hands on the table, but you don't put them flat. You have to have them like that, so you can't push the table. And you basically channel all your energy into it, and you ask people to come through, and they will move the table. But even though I'm a psychic, I'm still skeptical on certain things, and I'll always try and debunk stuff. I don't always blame it on spirits and stuff. So I will, when we did that one time, my mum has the ability to let people take over her body for a certain amount of time for them to speak to people. And I begged her not to, because I don't know how to bring her back from stuff. She was just like, "I'll say my name, just say my name and I'll come back." And then she let my grandma Eliza through, who I was on about earlier, and my mum's face completely changed. Her eyes went black. She was like crippling over, and my mum would be laughing by now. Like, she would have been absolutely hysterical, crying, because she's one of those that will play hide and seek. She'll be laughing because she can hear us about to find her. She's one of those. So I had my friend with me, and she was talking in this really weird voice, and I thought she was joking at first. I was like, "Mum, stop," but she really wasn't. And me and my mate smelled this old kind of museum, musty kind of old smell that came like wafted around us. And she came, like, gave me a hug, and she was like, "I'm scaring you, so I'm gonna go now," in this really weird voice. And she was breathing really heavily. She was going and it was really scary. And my mate was scared as well. She thought she was gonna turn and look at her if she laughed, but she wanted to laugh. And so I told Eliza, I was like, "Look, I want my mum back. Can you bring her back? You're not scaring me," but she was a little bit. And I was like, "Can you bring her back, please? Because I'm a bit scared, actually. I need her back." So she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go now." And then she wouldn't leave. She was taking forever to leave. So then she kept trying to talk to me, and I was like, "Look, you need to go. I need my mum back." And then when she went, that old musty smell wafted upon our noses again. And then it went, and my mum came back after us shaking my mum and saying, "Mum, come on, come back."
Did she remember
But
any
that was
of that?
She said it was a weird feeling. I think she did remember some of it, but she's definitely said it was really strange because she's only ever done it, I think, twice, including that time. It's kind of like a new ability she's trying to incorporate with her psychic abilities. But and then there was another one where I was making a sandwich. This was a few years ago, and I was making a sandwich in my kitchen, and everyone was outside. And I looked around my fireplace, and there was this woman. If you ever watched The Grudge, she looked a bit like that with the long dark hair. I hadn't watched The Grudge at this point, but she had like a white dress on and like pointy, sharp teeth. And she like put her hands around the fireplace, and she popped her head round and smiled at me and ran into the bathroom. So then I chucked my sandwich and I ran after her because I was like, "What the hell was that?" And there was nobody there.
That's interesting. I don't know what show you're talking about. What did you say? The Bridge?
The Grudge. It's a horror film.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit like The Ring. Have you ever watched that?
I usually don't watch horror films. Actually, I don't watch too many movies at all. I just watch whatever comes. Is it on Netflix? I just kind of watch whatever's on Netflix.
I don't think it is on Netflix. I don't know where you'd even get it because I haven't watched it completely all the way through. But it was kind of scary.
So basically, your mother was letting. I guess would you say she was channeling people, or she was letting spirits possess her body? I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Taking over and possessing are a little bit different. Possession takes a while to happen. It needs to attach to you, and there's different stages. Taking over is like they'll let them in just to give a message, and then they'll make them go away. But sometimes it can turn into possession if they don't want to leave, and if it's something that's evil that wants to be walking the earth again.
Well, you seem to be pretty sensible about all this. I mean, you have a little bit of skepticism, and you seem like you are a little bit careful, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So on your YouTube channel, what do you talk about? What do you make videos of?
I've done a video doing the table tipping seance, but nothing really happened because I don't know if it was because they were on camera, they didn't want to move the table. I've done ghost hunting down country lanes on Halloween. Because the country lanes where I live are supposed to be really haunted. It's near a forest that people used to call suicide forest because people would go there to hang themselves. But that we didn't catch a lot. We caught a few things after that looked like a figure, and I think we caught a few orbs. We also went over the local pond that's over the road from my house. And did ghost hunting there because that's supposed to be a bit haunted. I don't know. I think we caught a few voices actually over there, if I remember.
What is the name of your YouTube channel?
It's Lois Danks.
Lois Danks. Okay, so
just Lois Danks. Just Lois Danks.
Are you active on social media? If people, contact you on social media, do you respond?
Yeah. A lot on Instagram and Twitter. I'm always on them. One of my accounts are public, and I will respond to people DMing me and tagging me in things. But the other account I just use for just uploading pictures, but it's on a private account.
All right. So what are your Facebook and Instagram accounts? Are they also just Lois Danks?
Yeah, all just Lois Danks.
That's great. Now that you've seen a UFO, have you ever heard the theory or the idea that UFOs and or aliens are interdimensional beings? They're not really traveling across the sky for many, many light years, but they're just getting here interdimensionally. And some people may believe that even ghosts, demons, or whatever are also interdimensionally.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Do you think it's possible that perhaps even some of the voices, demons, anything that you've heard could be even aliens.
I don't think I've ever thought of it like that. It could be. I've heard of the theory that some aliens walk among us, and you can tell because when you look into someone's eyes, they it won't be like shiny, you can't see the light, it's just kind of like matte in their eyes. Whether that's true, I don't know. I've never actually seen it for myself, but I don't know, I believe it's definitely spirits coming through.
All right, do you have any other projects that you're working on that you want us to know about?
Not at the minute. I'm mainly trying to film more stuff on my YouTube. I'm trying to become more consistent with my uploading. It's just hard because I'm a really busy person, but I do enjoy doing the videos. So other than I want to do more fun videos and more psychic, spiritual videos, more ghost hunting, as I've got a night vision camera and a EVP now.
Oh, wow.
So I've got we're going to start planning after this COVID stuff. We're going to start doing more ghost hunts for sure.
So you have like a voice recorder that you can record EVPs?
Yeah.
Have you ever picked any up?
We did me and my mum and my sister did a spirit session last year sometime. It was after my birthday in November, so it was roughly around then. And when I slowed it down, because it was like when you were asking a question, it'd make a glitch. So I went onto my editor and I slowed it down. And when you slow it down, it's like you can hear a voice going, no. And like a real big whisper going, no. And it sounds like it's in between. It's really weird. It's like it's in between realms. There's like a lot of vibrations and it sounds like there's thumps, like footsteps. It was really strange, like really, really strange.
Wow. And for those of you that don't know, EVP, I believe stands for, is it electronic voice phenomena?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And what people are doing is they're trying to record ghost voices, basically. And that's what she has, is like a specific recorder to try to pick up voices. And then I think you're right that sometimes they need to slow them down to hear them. Yeah,
because sometimes it can come across as like a glitch, because that's what I did. I just thought I couldn't pick anything up, but I never thought, because in the ghost, like what they're called, videos on like TV and that shows, you don't realise that they actually slow them down because it can sound like, because it's speaking, it can like make it just sounds like a in the mic. So you have to slow it down to be able to pick up the voices. Yeah, maybe I think they theorize that since they're in a different dimension, everything is faster there. Yeah. And that's why they've got to slow it down. But I think I've heard one before and it was like, get out, get out. You know, something like that. It was pretty amazing. Yeah. There's some amazing stuff. Yeah. So you also have a night vision camera that you're going to start working with too, to try to see if you can catch any ghosts with that. Yeah, I just need a better computer so I can upload it onto there and download the editor I use and everything. That's all I'm really waiting on as well, is the COVID situation to be over. But what we caught when I was doing our little spiritual session, I caught an orb when I asked a question to my spirit guide. It came between me and my mum. And then when I asked for my mum's spirit guide, my camera shut off, which was really strange. And the battery drained out of it really quick. But that's normal because spirits will use the energy from devices to be able to give them more power. Have you ever seen an orb in person? Yeah, I've seen them. iPhones are the best to pick up orbs with. But I've seen a few times with my own eyes orbs form in my mate's house. Big black circles at the top of her stairs, and that was scary, to be honest, because I've seen them a few times. I see them light and dark, and it can be really weird because sometimes you think it's your eyes playing up. But I rubbed them and they were still there. So sometimes they kind of have a random movement and you think, okay, well, is that really light or am I seeing like dust or something? But one of them, it went right beside her head. It was moving and then it stopped and then it like blinked 3 times and then it took off. And you can't even notice it. And like I noticed it, or I can see it when I play the video on full screen. I have a 27-inch monitor.
because it's pretty small. And I think if you watch it on a phone or an iPad, you're probably going to miss it. But when you blow it up big, then you can see it. And that part was amazing to watch it blink, because I know that wasn't some type of random movement.
Yeah. I've never seen one do that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was pretty amazing. I think it was on my guest named Janet Tarantino. And if you go there and look, it'll say people are typing in the comments like, oh, I saw one at like 3 minutes 20 seconds or whatever. So if anybody is watching this video and wants to go watch it, try to watch it on a regular size monitor. And the one that was blinking to her, if you're sitting there looking at her, it was to her right side, actually. I'm using my left hand, but it was actually on her right side. All right, so you have not had any more UFO experiences since your original one, right?
Right.
Have you been out stargazing since then?
Yeah, since then, I'll go out, especially to see if I can see it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been able to see it again.
Do you want to see it again?
Yeah, but I'm desperate to get it on camera, and I think that's why I haven't been able to see one, because I don't know if they know or if they just haven't decided to visit Earth again. I don't know, but I haven't ever seen one again, and I always take my phone out with me in case, because if I see it, I'm getting it on camera this time.
So the encounter, besides the missing time, the encounter lasted like maybe 5 minutes, do you think, or what?
Yeah, well, it took about a minute for it to get over to my house, and then it hovered above us for what felt like about a minute. And then when we checked, it was a big time difference. So we think we got abducted and then brainwashed because of the time difference. It was really strange. But then it's also weird that after that, I had polycystic ovaries. I found out last year.
Yeah.
And I'd been up the doctors for 4 years trying to see what was wrong. And it was really strange. It runs in the family anyway, but I just found it was strange after that had happened. We found out then last year that I had polycystic ovaries for all that 4 years. And it just made me think, did they take ovaries? I don't know. Did they do anything? If we did get abducted, that is.
That's interesting. Yeah, it could be coincidental that you just had it in your family, or I think polycystic is just cysts growing on your ovaries. So is it possible?
But you get polycystic ovary syndrome that makes you really poorly, or you can have just the cysts.
That's interesting. Have you ever considered getting hypnotized to see if you can remember those missing 2 hours?
I haven't actually, but I'd definitely be down to see if they could do that.
Since this happened with your mother, has your mother ever reported any other strange occurrences or sensations or anything with this encounter?
No, we always speak about it, and she also tells people about our experience, but she hasn't had any reoccurring dreams about it. She hasn't had any feelings about it.
I'd be curious too. It would be really awesome is to have you hypnotized and have her hypnotized by somebody else and see what both of your stories show.
It would be interesting. I might actually do that, see if we can find someone and do a YouTube video on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Talk about a cool live video. Although I think it would probably take at least an hour or so. I got a couple comments here, or maybe let me see if I have some questions. See, I wasn't paying attention. Okay, here's a good question from E to the B. What do you think about the way witches are portrayed in the media?
I think people still think back to medieval times, that kind of era. And people always assume witches with evil. But you get different witches. You get people that practice light, people that practice dark. So it can be a bit annoying when they keep portraying it as evil.
I have another one. Amira Safra. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but she said she has PCOS as well. I guess that's polycystic.
All right.
And she said she wishes aliens would just take her eggs. She said it's Amira Shifra. Amira. Okay, I apologize, Amira. That was just her name because I was having trouble pronouncing her name. Before we wrap it up, do you have one last message that you'd want to share with everybody?
Just to be open about witches and paranormal, and if anyone does come up to you with a message, don't just tell them they're crazy. Actually listen, because it could be warning you about future situations that could really benefit you.
I think it's good. So this one was the one that asked about questions. She said, thanks. So it's more like Wizard of Oz, good witches and bad witches.
Yeah, it's like Wizard of Oz.
All right, Lois, I really appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time today. I wish you massive success in college and when you go to become a midwife. And I hope you get better and more confident in your witchcraft and your psychic abilities.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been really nice.
Yeah, it's been very nice chatting with you. And if you have another alien encounter, make sure you contact me so we can talk about it again.
I will. And I will get it on camera, I'm telling you.
That, or if you decide to get hypnotism done, that would be real. I'd love to follow up with that.
I definitely will think about doing it because it definitely sounds like it could actually work.
All right, Lois. Well, I'm going to take off. You have a wonderful evening and take care of yourself and be safe.
And you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.